Welcome to Side Roads. I'm Carlos, and this is a 2025 Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid. Thank you to my kind friends from Boyer Cover for facilitating the car for this video. The 2025 Chrysler Pacifica minivan. This is what we are driving today, obviously, and this is a very important product from Stellantis. Originally, and the original minivan came from the Grand Caravan, Dodge or Chrysler, depending on the combination. And now the Pacifica is the replacement of the Grand Caravan, although they continue to build the Grand Caravan based on the newer Pacifica platform and shape and everything for a lower entry price. But the Pacifica was launched when the Grand Caravan still existed, so again this was like a upgraded, renewed, like a new era of the minivan for Stellantis or Chrysler in this case. We are driving the plug-in hybrid, which is, to me at least, a very interesting proposition because it's moving forward on technology and current trends, aiming for efficiency, obviously. So the Pacifica comes with a 3.6 liter V6 engine, which is a hybrid combined system. Produces 260 horsepower, which is a little bit lower than the regular Pacifica, but is, again, you give a little bit, not too much horsepower in exchange for a hybrid system, and of course the efficiency and the range and the electric driving. So I think it's good, and I think that amount of power is sufficient for this car. It is paired to a EVT, which is an electrically variable transmission. It's like a CVT but applied to the whole hybrid plug-in hybrid system, so I'm fine with it. It's pretty much a one-gear transmission. The Pacifica has capability for charging in level 1 and level 2. By using level 1, you can charge this vehicle in 12 hours, which is overnight at home. It's a little bit longer, but if you start charging, I don't know, as soon as you get home, you will be fine for the next day. And then level 2 in around 2 hours, as claimed by Chrysler. So that's also, kind of okay comparing with the market. You have to plan your charging if you are going on a long trip. The Pacifica has a 51 kilometers electric only range, and the total hybrid range is around 835 kilometers, which is an extended tank of gas. And remember, this is a plug-in hybrid, so you still have the regular engine with gas, which is good. The Pacifica has also a max regeneration feature, which converts a car into a pretty much one pedal driving, and while doing that will help to recover or recharge the battery in a more aggressive way, but also in a more practical or faster way. I don't know how to say it, but what it means is by having that feature you can have the battery charge for a longer time, which is good, especially when having a plug-in hybrid. So the Pacifica, by being a minivan, competes with cars like the Toyota Sienna Hybrid and the Kia Carnival Hybrid as well. Those are the only ones I'm choosing because are the only ones with at least some level of electrification. This is a plug-in hybrid, which is a higher level of electrification. I have a bigger battery, and also that reflects on the price. But I added to the mix the Mazda CX-90 because it's a 3-row mid-size SUV that somehow in general are competing with minivan or are taking over or have taken share from the minivan market, all these three rows SUVs. But the CX-90 is the only one that offers a plug-in hybrid system. Safety features for the Pacifica are things like blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, rear park assist with active braking, forward collision warning with active braking, parallel and perpendicular park assist, pedestrian automatic emergency braking, and lane departure warning with lane keep assist. Fuel efficiency for the Chrysler Pacifica is 8 liters per 100 kilometers city or 7.9 liters per 100 kilometers highway, which is 35 mpg city and 36 mpg highway. By using the measurements for hybrid or plug-in hybrid or even electric vehicles, the Pacifica is rated as 2.9 liters equivalent per 100 kilometers city and 3.1 liters equivalent per 100 kilometers highway, which is 97 mpg equivalent city or 91 mpg E or equivalent highway. And if you could notice, it is better on the city than in the highway because again, hybrid and plug-in hybrid benefit themselves, especially on efficiency and the combination of the battery or the use of the battery or the electric portion of the vehicle on city driving. Typically in the highway, the engine will try to kick in for longer periods and then the car relies on the gas engine for efficiency. Instead in the city, while combining the both use of electric and gas or mostly electric, brings the consumption down significantly. Price for the Chrysler Pacifica in Canada starts around the 62,000 Canadian dollars, and the top trim goes up to 75,000 Canadian dollars. You'll see the US prices on the screen as well. The 2025 Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid. Interior. So it is nice in here. The seats are really comfortable. Let me start with that. So the materials are all soft touch, and the support points are also padded and comfortable, so it makes the driving and the sitting position a lot more comfortable. The power windows are one touch up and down for the 4 windows, which I really like, and it has 2 memory settings for 2 different drivers here. The steering wheel, of course, is wrapped in leather and is heated. The front seats are heated as well, and this is a premium leather, so that is all good. It has a 7 inches screen in the gauge cluster, in the center of the gauge cluster, and it gives you a lot of information, and you can configure that in the different way and choose whether you want the screen to show you, plus it's changing with the car messages, so that is all good. And then you have your gas indicator and the power indicator for all the hybrid plug-in hybrid system and what is happening while you're driving, so that is all cool. 11 inches infotainment display touchscreen, which is color and is really clear and really crisp. I like that. The icons are big enough and you can easily navigate between screens and menus. That's also good. And you have a dedicated e-hybrid screen which shows you also what is happening with the vehicle, mostly where the power is coming from, either from the battery or the engine, depending on the case. So that's really good. Some of the air conditioning controls you can manage through the screen, but there are here physical buttons for the air conditioning. The regular traditional one are really well laid out, and of course you have the option between physical buttons or screen. So to me that's the way to go. It's either give me both or give me physicals, but don't take away the physical ones. The shifter is an electronic shifter, and this is rotating knob here. It is functional, I will say. The center console is wide, and there are two cup holders here. The space for storage here is, I would say that I think there are other minivans that have a bigger center console here, but this is practical and usable. There is wireless charging here for your phone, and there are USB and USB-C connectors here, and an extra tray here and cubby here for your storage stuff. And the glove box is on the smaller side, but it's okay. You can store the average stuff that you will store in a glove box here. We have a panoramic sunroof for the first row, and it's nice and it opens. There are a few things here that are van-like and cool to have. So there is this little family car mirror here, so you can see everybody and what everybody's doing and what is happening, especially if your kids are sleeping and things like that, without having to turn around. So that's cool. But it also have this screen here, which is FamCam is called. So it's like a modern digital version of this, but it's from the top, so you can see the second row and the third row and what is happening. So that's kind of neat and kind of cool, and obviously very van oriented. There is also Alexa built in on this system, and there is a full Amazon Fire Stick TV system or something in the back. So there are two screens, and you can watch Prime stuff, and it's cool. It's nice and cool to have. Of course, this is I believe the mid-trim of the Pacifica, so it's kind of very well equipped. I fit behind myself with plenty of spare to chair there. The sunroof, as I said, makes the cabin pretty airy. The seats, you can move back and forth and you can recline, and there are a passenger screen there that you can put up and down, and the access is really nice. The two doors are electric, so you can, or power. They open automatically, and the windows goes down. And I mentioned that because I'm not a minivan person, never been, and I haven't been in many minivans. So to me, for years and years, those windows didn't open. Turns out they do. So if you didn't know, welcome. If you knew, sorry. But they open and they are huge. So that is good. It's easy access, only one lever there to move the second seat to the front, and then the access to the third row is pretty spacious and comfortable. And I also fit behind myself in the third row with space to spare, which is crazy. I mean, I've been in few 3-row SUVs and there is not this level of space, and I think that's why minivans are still current and valid and an option for so many families. So that's cool. The seats are really comfortable as well, and I fit no issues. The trunk is minivan-like as well. So while the seats are up, there is narrow space, but it's really deep, because so to help you to store stuff and to have always the options to have the 3 rows up. But also in that little space, the third row has a stow and go function from Chrysler, that you can put it, disappear completely that seat into the floor. So that's pretty cool. You'll see it in the video, but this is a nice interior. It's comfortable, it's spacious, it's practical, It's everything that you would expect from a minivan, with some extra things here that will attract many buyers. So this is a very good job by Chrysler. I like it here. How is to drive the Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid? It is very nice. Let me start by saying I have never driven a minivan before, so I was always wondering how is it, especially from the driver's seat and the shape of the car and the hood and all that. But so far it feels like a normal car, and also it feels smaller than what I would imagine. That's good, because it doesn't make it feel such a big car, especially being a family car. Nobody wants to drive a huge car, and especially with the practicality of a minivan that has so much space. So the Pacifica is really quiet in the cabin, and I have been driving mostly on electric mode, so it has been pretty quiet as well, because there's no engine noise, but I can tell, but not having that noise too, that the cabin is well insulated. Then the seats are really comfortable, which it seems to be now a theme on all the Stellantis, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge product that I have tested, which is good. I mean, especially for this car that is meant for families and trip and space and chill. So I like how comfortable the seats are. The steering weight is on the light side, or the soft side, which is, you know, to be expected on a minivan. You have to be you have to be able to maneuver this car without issues, and, you know, deal with it in parking lots and in the city without making the driving uncomfortable. So that's pretty good. It's still a little bit precise, so it doesn't feel overly soft, at least on center and while driving at a higher speed. So I like that, and I also like the design and the thickness of the wheel. So it gives you, I don't know, this small feeling of sportiness, which is not here. I have to say though, the suspension is also set up towards comfort, but the car feels somehow planted. Again, I was expecting a lot more floaty here and disconnected, but it's not. So I like that, because it's being more like the type of driving and the type of cars that I personally like. So I'm sort of surprised by that, and I'm happy about that, because you get comfort, but you also get a feel of control and knowing what is happening with the car, and not necessarily a car that is completely disconnected with the road and the inputs and everything. So I am pleasantly surprised with that. The brakes are also used to regenerate power for the battery, but so far they feel normal. They typically are a little bit different, and you can tell that they are a little bit different, but nothing that will make customers walk away from it or have a bad experience by driving this car. So I like that. Visibility is great. I mean, it has full of big windows. The back window is huge, and the window for the third row is huge. So not only brings a lot of light to the cabin, but also it makes it airy, and it helps, especially with the third row, with the passengers there, to be, you know, have a nice experience while being there, because light and visibility is important, especially for smaller kids. So that is all good. Now, acceleration on the Pacifica is interesting. I have been driving mostly on electric, so the instant torque and the instant feel of power is there, makes the car a lot more responsive, and it's kind of a cool experience and sensation when the car does that. So that's pretty cool, and it takes off with no issues, and then the engine kicks in, and the whole thing, I again super surprised. It's a very good execution from Chrysler on the Pacifica from the electric side. I've driven a Wrangler 4xe, which is a plug-in hybrid naming that Jeep uses for their vehicles, and I find the execution here better. Car is seamless, and there is nothing weird happening, and the sounds are right, and I like it. It feels like a normal car by all means, with the added advantage of driving mostly on electric while the battery is charged. So very good. Well, we all know what minivans are for and how practical they are and how many families love them. That's all obvious. But the Pacifica has now added electrification and the plug-in hybrid system that makes it even more unique.